Hello and welcome. I'm Master Lama Rasaji, and this is our Wednesday edition of Rasaji Speaks. Before we get started today, don't forget now, we've got two gatherings today. One at 1 o'clock with Sister Lynette, and at 7:30 with Sister Dawn. And we had a huge audience last week. We were pushing 100 people on, and that's getting real exciting. I'm going to have something to share with you about the gathering here in the next several days, if not before, definitely in Tucson, about where we're going. So I think you'll be excited, especially those who love the gathering. Tell the girls Lama G said hello. Okay. Today, our subject matter is going to be perfect timing: goddess revival, reclaiming the divine feminine for healing and transformation. When I was in India many lifetimes, in the month of November, they have every year Divine Mother Festival. It lasts for 9 days. I've been a part of several, even in this lifetime alone. I was at 3 of the 4 years that I was training in India in this lifetime. I was at a Divine Mother's Festival. Babaji's ashram in North Harakan, across from the Ganges, and right beside the cave that he materialized the body in the 1970s, there is 9 small little temples where you can go in. There's altars there, just like if you go in a Catholic church, you know how they have maybe sometimes an altar for Mary where you light candles down by the altar, right? They have small altars like that are individually covered with different colors of the different chakras, the 9 different chakras and those colors. So at the tail end of those temples is an opening to where Babaji has spent many lifetimes meditating. He had Shaktipat that cave so many millenniums that it makes sense. That's where he materialized his body in 1970. And he used Mother Earth as the womb of creation. And that's why he's made sure that they erect 9 temples, right? In America, you can't find that unless you find a Hindu temple. Sometimes you'll find that, but the celebration is almost non-existent in our country, and that's going to change, especially as the Lama series are resurrected on American soil. I want to talk a little bit today about the most common goddess that a lot of people turn to, like a guardian angel, that even in the Western world, and that is the equivalent to the Buddhist female that we refer to as Quan Yin. So let's talk a little bit about Quan Yin, right? She would be very close and similar to what Mary means to the Catholic, what Quan Yin means to the people of Buddhism, and also in India. Quan Yin is a common Chinese name for Alakdevera Hyastya, and later they named her as Quan Yin. Worshipped especially by women, this goddess comforts the troubled, the sick, the lost, the senile, and the unfortunate. Her popularity over the centuries has grown tremendously. Today, she is also looked at one who protects seafarers, farmers, and travelers. In Chinese mythology, Guan Yin, goddess of mercy, and is considered the physical embodiment of compassion. Very, very interesting. Buddhism was first introduced to China during the Han Dynasty in about 206 to about 220 BC. Quan Yin soon appeared. At first, she appeared her statues as a male with a mustache, but as it evolved, that changed into a woman. As a goddess of compassion dedicated to aiding anyone in need, Guan Yin is said to be one of the easiest spirits to work with as a guide, ever present, always listening to our prayers. There is no special ritual or method in calling her. So, you know, there's also mala beads that have little figurines of Quan Yin a lot, how you are liable to see Mary. And it's an interesting, the connection with her, with Mala, right? And then the connection of Mary with the Rosary Mala in the Catholic Church. Two important women leaders, spiritual powerhouses, and both of them are found a lot of times with prayer marlins. So we'll be getting some Quan Yin marlins in, and I think you guys will enjoy that. So think of it, it's really powerful. So see, in the East, they're not threatened. The Middle East they are, but in the Far East, it's deep within China and India and Tibet. They're not threatened by the women's energy, the empowerment of women. You can trace all Lama Ji's incarnations, and almost every incarnation that I had was the empowerment of women. As Hanuman, remember, I was the one that went in to get Sita from the wicked sorcerer, right? To bring him back to Lord Ram. Think about that. If you know Krishna's incarnation, you would know that he has the dance of the Lilas and the Divas. When he would chant or play his flute, constantly they were being dancing around him. There was that connection, right? And then Patanjali. They said a lot of times his chelas and aspirants were women, constantly around Patanjali. As you might remember the story of a young Indian woman in the Northwest who knew my most recent incarnation had been with me, but she had also been with me as a chela of Patanjali. And she spoke it out loud to everybody. There was almost 100 people in the room when she was saying that. Didn't think twice about speaking it out in public. There were 8 Kriya Yoga students that were there when she announced that. So in the East, there's this constant reverence to the divine feminine power. Well, you've been hearing Lama Ji say a lot about Mother Earth lately. See, Boganathar knew that calling, and he figured out in about 5 decades in nature, what was that source behind nature? And what was the chance for the immortalization of the physical body? Right? Where was that going to come from? Well, coming from the Father comes will and wisdom. Coming from the mother comes the love and compassion, just like we know of any good mother, right? But she's ascending, and she's ascending from the earth. And when you have the ascending and the descending energy, what do you have? You have in India, they call it the Inga and the Pangala, feeding the Sasuma. And when you think about that, what is it in China? It is the yin and it is the yang. It's the same thing, right? So we in the Western world have been a lot ignorant and sometimes very arrogant to the teachings of the East. And yet now Lamaji has shared with you the root of Jesus's teachings come from the city yoga traditions and the lamasery of Tai Chi Gong, right? And isn't it interesting that even though it was not told and not justified in the Sermon on the Mount, where they talk about being 5,000 people there, yeah, there was 5,000 guys. I know, I was there. But there were over 10,000 women, 2 to 1, probably closer, almost 3 to 1. And every time Jesus would walk in a different area, there was a woman. Think about how it makes sense. Women anatomically are structured to be closer to the divine. Their blood's more alkaline than a male. It's like if I was talking about Yoda in Star Wars and midi-chlorians, that's kind of what I would be talking about. That's how they identify young Anakin Walker, that he would be some master one day. They didn't know he would turn to the dark side, but they knew he had a lot of power. In their most recent trilogy, if you watch from 2016 to 2021, the lead character, Rey, was a woman. That's right. So it's very powerful. Understand, it's coming back. We're in the second age of ascension, right? But who's feeding the ascension? I just told you, the Divine Mother, right? And when her energy comes into you, it's the X. It's the X. What does that remind you of? Well, when I do the motion of the swim, there's one X. When I do it with other, you see, there's the other X. When my hips are doing figure 8 side to side, there's the X, there's the X. The cross represents the masculine energy as the number 6 does. The X represents the feminine energy as the number 9 means to return to. What is Lama Ji's number? 18. 1 and 8 is 9, which is my father Shiva's number, which is 18, Babaji's number, right? You think that's by accident? No, it's by purpose. It was purposely designed that way. And because Lamaji, as Bodhinathar, puts out that frequency, all the women are comfortable being in my chi. Because I'm a male manifesting the divine goddess energy through me. Now, what does that make a male that's manifesting the divine goddess energy through? Probably balance at the very least, right? Share with them today when you come to the gathering with Sister Lynette and Sister Dawn. Why don't you share with them a little bit about Quan Yin and what you think about this discourse today? Put it in the comments there, right? We're going to empower a lot of people on this planet in the next 30 plus years. But we're really going to empower a lot of spiritual women here. And if you paying attention, it's already happening. Most of our teachers are women, right? Think about it. It's happening because they understand. See, if you're a strong enough individual to give childbirth, and then to go through with children in the adolescent years, help them with their studies, help them when they become young adults and they have a wife and a husband and children and all the complications that come back to you. And then they have to counsel them, right? Where did the kids turn to? They turn to the mom. Why did they turn to mom first? Because she prepares them for dad. The whole Tai Chi Gong system is based from the Divine Mother to prepare the whole human race to return to Abba, to the Heavenly Father. Don't that just give you chills? Oh, yeah. Don't you like what Andy did for me with the symbols of the feminine from the Hindu faith, from the Buddhist faith? These are our brothers and sisters. I constantly, in the spiritual realms, see Buddha and Jesus hugging all the time. This does not take away, it enhances. The feminine energy does not take away. It's not Eden's false story about her falling from grace. That was a masculine spin. Eden lived longer than Adam did, right? Yeah, think about that. And Sita, along with Lord Ram, walk hand in hand into 4 and 5D after loving each other for 11,000 years and reigning together is Lord and Goddess for 10,000 years. Don't that just give you like chills? Isn't that a humanity that you want to be involved in, brothers and sisters? I know that's a humanity I want to be involved in. And that's why Lama Chi is here. So I want to thank all the women out there today that have the courage to do Tai Chi Gong, and especially those that have the courage to stand up and be a teacher for Tai Chi Gong, and one day an adept with Tai Chi Gong. And a special shout out to Sister Dawn and Lynette for leading the galleries. Those are two strong women. Let them know how much you appreciate them, right? Baraka Bashai, may the blessings be to you and to your glorious family. Remember, our family is always to be the replica of the divine family. Last I checked, it takes a man and a woman to do that too. God bless. See you soon.